Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about another Cosmere controversy. I don't know if it's a controversy yet because it seems to be a lesser known theory, but we're going to talk about a Lift theory today. The theory of Lift being a dragon. So, as always, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And if you want to support the channel in another way, you can check out the Patreon. The link is in the description. So, let's begin. All right. So this theory I kind of ran into when I was looking up stuff about Shallan's mother. That theory, and I kind of love the theory, but it's still pretty thin. So there's like a lot of places to poke holes in it and stuff. And later books, when we get more information about Lift and stuff, it could probably easily be dismissed. But at this point, I'm a fan of it. So the theory is that Lift is a dragon. So let's talk about some of the main points as to why this has become a theory. So the first reason is the many different interpretations of her boon, because we don't really have a verbatim, quote of what she asked for, her boon and curse thing. So we don't really know precisely the wording and how cultivation could have interpreted it and stuff like that, because we don't have it, verbatim quoted. The closest thing we have is from a newsletter from Brandon that essentially says that her the closest thing we have to a direct quote is that her boon and curse, her wish, was that she remains the same while the world changes around her. But there's also in text reading, basically she says that she's not supposed to change, she's supposed to stay the way she was before she lost her mom. She makes a lot of reference to being like her little girl and stuff like that. So I always kind of interpret it as exactly as it is though. Like, basically the way she interprets it as well. Like she'll be 10 forever essentially. But we know that she's aging. There's a mention in Edge Dancer about her getting her first menstruation. Like, she's 13, and like in Rhythm of War, it's at that point. I can't remember. What they didn't say she was like 16. She's like 14 or 15. Like it's very noticeable that she's grown. She's taller. She can't fit places that she used to and stuff like that. She can't just crawl around in ducks the way she once could and that kind of thing. So she is physically growing. But then it can also be interpreted that this is almost a devil advocate like pushback against the idea that I kind of thought about earlier today. But the idea that cognitively she can't grow, she will remain the same. But that kind of, I don't like that idea because of the implications. It's like the idea that mentally she will stay 10 years old, she will stay that child. But that seems terrible. That makes the character basically immune slash incapable of true character development if they stay that same age. Especially it's going to be weird when everybody is getting much older, like Stormlight 7 or 8 or something, and she's still behaving like a 10-year-old despite being almost 20 or even older, depending on the gap between the front half and back half. Like, so I don't think that works well, narratively at all. So my thought was this. So say Brandon has also mentioned this. Let me talk about the nature of dragons first. Brandon has also mentioned that there's multiple different like types of dragons in the Cosmere. One of which is the type that is born human and around puberty is capable of switching forms. So that is the type of dragon we would assume that Lift would be. So my thought was that this, because it's in Cosmere, so assuming the other form, like it has a cognitive form, maybe the staying the same is her not being able to shift because she was 10 years old, so obviously before the time in which she'd be able to shift. So maybe the cognitive realm is where that other form sits, essentially. It kind of goes along with some of her other abilities. So, like her ability to metabolize life light and that kind of thing. While we don't really have clear examples of someone metabolizing energy or food and turning it into investiture, at least that I can think of offhand, but it's close to something like Chiri, who eats investiture and basically sustains off that type of energy. And Chiri is essentially a tiny dragon, so I wonder if there's like a dragon mechanic in there to like eating investiture kind of a thing. Maybe the way she metabolizes it is because of the human form and like versus like, so that's a bit of a stretch, but that's in there I think. But my other main thought was that the idea that she can like she's partly in the cognitive realm. That's how it's described by Window. That's why she can touch her Spren and use him to climb, the wall of the palace in Aesir when they went, doing the thieving stuff. So if she is partially in the cognitive realm, who's to say that that's not her dragon aspect being locked in the cognitive realm. So that then gives her these like other cognitive kind of abilities just as an offshoot because she's being kept in a place where she can't shift. But cultivation wouldn't pull that part of her spirit web away, wouldn't take it apart, take it out of her, excise it or whatever, because she wants to still use her in the future or something like that. So I guess ultimately my point is like maybe her cognitive aspect of her dragon shifting side is locked in the cognitive realm, and therefore it makes her partially in the cognitive realm, which is why she can touch Wendell and whatnot and break into Dalinar's visions and like metabolize Stormlight and stuff. What if a lot of those abilities, apart from the metabolizing Stormlight, if that's not just a dragon ability, which I don't think it is because in Tress, there doesn't seem to be any kind of implication that that dragon could do anything like anything like that. So all of these extra abilities would be kind of just results of her dragon shifting side of her spirit web being tied to the cognitive realm and locked down. That's kind of my thought on that part of it. So that's a little, to me, it feels a little overly complicated, but I'm sure other Cosmere nerds know exactly what I mean when I try to explain that. So next, I have my little notes here and stuff too. And we know cultivation assumedly has plans for Lift because she showed up personally for Dalinar. She had plans for Dalinar, and anybody else she showed up for specifically? I don't remember. It doesn't matter, but we know that she is. Oh, to Taravangia. We know that when she shows up, she has specific plans. She wants to use these people. So I'm wondering if somehow she looked into Lift's past and saw her mom was like a dragon or something, and then saw it was going to be some sort of issue or something later, and then that was why she like gave Lift the special setup or something like that. That's a very thin part of it, but I was kind of wondering that earlier. And of course, the Stormfather says that Lift was basically created to defy him, basically to defy his will. I don't know if that's direct evidence. Honestly, the main part of the theory kind of hinges on this idea that her dragon shifting part of her spirit web is locked. And it's locked in the cognitive realm / spirit realm. So Lift doesn't have access to it. Because that would fulfill her boon in that she doesn't change through a specific type of interpretation. She remains the same and the world changes around her. But I wonder if that would be like boon and a curse. Cause see, and sorry, I'm thinking about it as I'm going. So, okay, and comparing it to Dalinar's boon and curse, right? So Dalinar's cultivation specifically set it up in such a way where it would, his memories would grow back, and it would eventually, lead to that kind of. It almost matches his boon and curse a little bit better, but in any case, like it happens in such a way where it kind of reverses itself after a specific amount of character development. Say cultivation has the same thing set up for Lift, and then after a certain amount of learning she has with the radiance and all this kind of stuff, and learning her surges or whatever, and just kind of developing in general, and gets more kind of worldly knowledge and everything about the desolations and all this stuff, then maybe later on cultivation will unlock her dragon side and she can shift and be a dragon, because we know cultivation is also a dragon. And I just want dragons. I don't know. I like dragons, and I really like the idea of Lift being a dragon. It would explain so much. But she it's weird because like some of the stuff that I want to just attribute to her probably being a dragon is all attributable to her extra cognitive shenanigans. But I just want to attribute her extra cognitive shenanigans to that idea that cultivation bound her dragon aspect to the cognitive realm / spiritual realm. So yeah, I guess that's the bulk of the theory. Like I said, it's still pretty thin. You can probably poke all kinds of holes in it, but I really like that idea. So yeah, let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of this theory? Do you think it's Swiss cheese? It's already full of holes, like it doesn't work, or do you think it might be kind of? I don't want to say I might be onto something, because I am probably one of at least a few thousand people that thought about this theory, but to the point where there's already Reddit articles and stuff on it, so totally not the first one to think of it. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Does it make any sense to you? Does it jive with you? Is this really just me really wanting dragons, more dragons in the Cosmere? Like wishful thinking? I don't know. Let me know about that in the comments down below. So as always, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and check out the Patreon if you're interested in supporting the channel in another way. And as always, I will talk to you all next time. Peace.